This is Renegade Femme for the Revolution. I am your host, Zuleika.
Trust me, wait, you're going to see it happen. When
What do
he
you
says,
mean, like-
okay, record, and you're going to be like,
No, he's not gonna say it. That's the whole point. I told him, don't tell me when you hit record.
she's a pro.
Don't tell me when you turn on the camera, and I'm good.
I'm going to fix
You
my
know?
stool because I feel like every time I turn my head, I'm moving away from the mic. Is
Fix
this
your
okay?
stool.
Okay.
I can hear you perfectly. I might have to back up a little. 'Cause,
No,
you
you're
know,
good. He's going to adjust it. Don't worry about
The
what
voice.
you hear.
Okay.
That's what he gets paid the big
All right,
bucks
so
for.
two Criolla chicks and a mic. Let's go.
Dos criollas and a mic.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Two
Cape Verdeans and a
Verdeans.
mic.
That's what we should name this.
Dos
This-
criollas and a mic. I love
Yeah.
that.
That's it. That's
Yes.
it. Write it down so we don't forget.
Okay.
Dos
Just
Criolla.
like that too. See, even that word we say differently. I say dos.
Dos. I know. There's no H there. You say it
No.
right.
Yeah.
I said,
I,
yeah.
I read it how it's written.
Right.
They just make up shit. Those criollas and a mic. At
There
least
you
it's
go.
not those criollas in a cup.
Red cup.
Well, there's
you
okay.
haven't seen it. Do you know the two chicks in a cup thing?
No.
Good. Keep
Oh,
him.
yes, I have.
Keep,
Yes,
I'm
I
like,
have.
good. Keep him
I do.
innocent.
I do.
Keep him
I
innocent.
do.
We tried. We tried.
So yeah. So what are we gonna talk about today?
Is this good? Am I good or do I
You're
need to
good.
be closer? That's good. We're going to talk about everything.
Sata
Let's just
vin,
start.
Barlavin.
Let's just go into it, and then I think probably because this kind of
Just flow.
is a little bit of a variant of how the podcast has started, and I've been wanting you to be my number one guest for so long because of
gosh.
how we like you're surprised. Because we
I'm
have such
not.
good.
Everybody
no.
loves me. I get it. I understand. I you know.
And this is why. And this is
Mahad.
why. So let's just talk and see what comes up. But my favorite part about this is we're both criollas
Yes.
and we have a lot in common.
Yes.
And so I wanted this to kind of, it's easy for us to talk and talk for hours because
Yes.
we've done that forever. To try to keep it a little bit in line, I thought maybe doing something fun would be like pretending we're talking to the producer and explaining like, well,
What
how do
it
you
is
guys
like
know
to-
each other? And what's it like being Cape Verdean?
Verdean.
And what does that even mean? And how...
So many things. So many
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. And then, the whole culture thing.
That's
And because that was the initial thought of having you come on, like, let's talk about culture. And especially in this time when there's like so much hate and,
That's right.
division and immigrants are like bad people and all that stuff.
They just need to go to a Cape Verdean household, and that'll put everything. to
I
end,
always say,
you
I'm
know?
like, just meet the people that you
Right.
think are so different from you.
That's right.
And yeah, we are a little bit different, but we're fun.
Oh my
And
gosh.
You
And
will
we
forever
feed
be
you?
changed. Yes.
We
Like-
feed you for life.
Yeah.
Like, you do not show up to a Cape Verdean's house with a full stomach. You
Mm-hmm.
are going to blow because, first of all, like, the food is great, so you can't say no. Your body wants to say no, but
Right.
your head is like,
Yeah.
what
And don't
is
show
all
up
of
with
this?
any other plans because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going to be there all day.
all day. We are going to feed you, get you drunk, and send you on your way. That's just,
Yeah.
like...
And if you're lucky, you'll be drunk enough that you get to spend the night, wake
oh
up the
my
next
gosh,
day, and
we all have guest bedrooms.
Yeah.
and we
blow up mattresses.
and blow 'em, and we kick our kids out of their own bedrooms to give you their bedrooms. Like, that's just the culture. Like,
Yeah.
so don't show up at 2 and think like, oh, I'm just gonna hang out for 30 minutes.
Right.
By the time you start eating, oh my gosh,
Yeah. The
You-
fun takes over, and then
Yeah.
it's a whole nother world.
it's loud, it's exciting.
Yeah. Everybody looks like they're fighting, but we're just
talking.
We're just talking.
We're just talking.
Yeah. Nobody's angry.
No, I know. We just look. We just sound.
We sound angry, but we're not.
We're
it's
not.
It's just passion.
Right.
It's passion.
And
Yeah.
that's and then we're like the nicest people. Mm-hmm. Like, we talk a lot of shit, don't get me wrong. Like, we
Yeah.
do. We talk a lot of shit. But guess what? You're still welcome in our house. We're still going to feed you and get you drunk and send you
Yeah.
on your way.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to say, like, after you leave, we're going to be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, what was she wearing? But while you're there,
You are hot, girl.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
who styled this, but wow. Yeah. No.
And then you're gone, and we call that.
But that's
bed night talk with
I
the
feel like
husband.
that's
You're
also
like,
part of the culture, no?
Yes.
Right? Like,
"Bota acredita o que aquela pessoa tava-" like,
Oh
you,
my-
can you believe what she had on?
Yeah.
But we love her. She's so nice. We're gonna invite her back. Like
Right.
that's just what
I
we
hope
do.
she wears something just like that next time. Yeah, like that's weird that is kind of a culture thing. It's not. It's weird to gossip and talk smack because it's never from like a super malicious place, like the way you're describing it now, where it's like it gives us something to talk about.
That's it. That's it. Oh, because people have to understand we're an island and we don't have a lot to do.
We're 10 islands. We're
Well,
an
yeah,
archipelago.
Yes, we are. And where some islands don't have a lot to do, I'm not gonna call any out. Fogu, I said it. That's where Zanda's from. Okay.
Let's put a little pin in this. So,
Okay.
since let's pretend that we haven't just started having this conversation, and I have an audience that is not 100% Cape Verdean. A huge part of my audience is my dad listens, my cousins listen, and I feel like this is kind of for them, right? For our people.
That's right.
Because I do want to have a culture thing. And I actually haven't even done an episode where I really introduce myself because this is so new. I know. So this is going to be fun. And I wanted to pause there because you just called me the house name. I'm doing air quotes for those of you that can't see us. Because when you're ethnic, there's a professional name, and there's plenty of y'all listening to this right now that totally get this. You have your professional name, the first name that's on your birth certificate, and your last name, and then there's all the names in between that somehow your family will jumble up together and create a quote unquote house name for you, and that's what you're known as your entire life. And so, welcome to Immigrant 101.
That's right.
Your colleagues, your American colleagues will always know you by one name, and then you go home and they're like, "Oh, you think you're big now because you got this fancy name and fancy title."
Right.
But we still know you as
Zanda.
Yeah. Some of us are lucky enough where our parents give us 2 names instead of 4. And since we're on that topic, I'm going to put you out there since you put me out there. Miss, let me introduce my long-awaited favorite guest of all time. I hope I don't hurt anybody else's feelings, but this is my boo. This is my homegirl. Miss Emaline Albuquerque Martins Centeio.
Oh my gosh, you forgot Fernandez. Okay.
I didn't forget. I didn't know you had Fernandez.
Oh, I'm going to say the whole thing.
Okay, so Creole. Please introduce yourself.
Are y'all ready for this? Sit down. It's long. It's all right. It's Emaline Albuquerque Fernandes Martins Centeio. So, when I got married and I picked up Centeio, I said, I'm just going to drop everything else because I said, can I do? They were like, oh yeah, absolutely. And my father looked at me like, you do not drop that Martins. So I became Emaline Martins Centeio. In English, Emaline Martins Centeio, which is EMC. So, and my husband loves Albert Einstein. So, I mean, just...
I was wondering. I'm like, wait, EMC I know EMC, the energy company, but I forgot the husband thing. Yeah, he's a little bit of a nerd. He likes the science stuff, and so
when I became EMC, he loved me even more.
Yeah,
So.
But did you remember what EMC stands for?
No. Not only am I an immigrant, that came at 11, and I'm always going to go back to that. By the way, when I know nothing, I'm just like, but I'm only...
She pulls the immigrant card all the time. But y'all know I'm an immigrant, so...
Right.
No, that doesn't fly.
Right.
And for those of y'all that are listening that think I'm an asshole calling her out on the, do you know what EMC stands for? And if you listen to my last podcast, you probably are like, she's doing that because she's that know-it-all asshole. That's not it. It's because the running joke is that Emaline is married to an IT guy. And I say that not to discredit what he does. He runs a very successful network solutions company. Shout out to GCNS, Gustavo Centeio Network Solutions. If you ever, little plug right here. You better pay me for this too.
That's right.
If you need, I'm gonna say what he does because if I ask you what he does, she's gonna be like,
No, I know.
Do you? Can you do it?
Wait, get it? Ready?
Yes.
He's a computer doctor. That's what he told me to say. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, so back
Because
to the
he's a
EMC
computer
part.
doctor.
I'm asking. He doesn't just fix computers, by the way. He's not like a virus guy. Like he actually sets up offices for network stuff.
He hooks
This is
up
what I was like,
servers,
should I
yeah.
explain it? Because I actually get it. No, he does like wiring and
Right.
sets up your network
Right.
and does all that, saving of your documents and retrieving of, like, it's for real, for real.
And when your
not
computer
like,
gets a virus, and he's the computer doctor.
Right.
He comes in, he removes
so when your
the
friends
virus.
want to delete porn from their laptops, they go see him.
Oh, gosh.
That's what she,
Okay.
yeah.
That-
That too.
That too. That too. You know who you are. We're not
But
going to call you
anyway,
out on it.
I asked the EMC thing because of this.
Yeah.
Because she's like, my husband's excited about it because my initials are EMC. And I'm like, well, do you understand? Like, no. But for him, it's like, oh my God, that's the perfect.
Right.
That's it.
right,
Like,
right.
that lets me
'Cause-
know that you are right for me.
Because he's a geek.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Is he a geek? What's cool? Is it the geek or is
Nerds
it
are cool.
nerd?
Geeks are.
Okay, well, he's
not.
whatever
I
is
don't know.
cool. So he's a nerd.
Because he thinks he's cool. Yeah.
He's
I
pretty
think
cool.
he probably has a T-shirt that says that
I'm
nerds are
cool.
cool or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm a nerd.
I'm a
He's got
nerd.
a lot of T-shirts with things that he wants the rest of us to look at.
And look, we digressed away from the Cape Verdean thing.
Yeah.
It's what we
Well,
do.
he is Cape
It's
Verdean.
what we do.
Yes, we go off on a tangent.
This is why you don't leave a house.
No sentences
in
are ever
15,
complete.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Never. How long do we say goodbye?
For 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah.
The party's over at never at midnight.
No.
The place tells us we got to be out of there by midnight. So where do we go? Parking lots. We are saying goodbye at the parking lot
Yeah.
for 2 hours, like we're not gonna see these people tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it goes.
That's
Yeah.
so yeah. We
So
always
back to the
digress. Yeah,
introduction.
Okay.
So
wow, we haven't
Miss
even
Emaline-
left the introduction.
This is going to be a really long
Yes,
podcast. This
yes.
might. I thought it'd be a 2-part. It might be a 4-part at the rate we're going.
'Cause we're at the
12
introduction.
minutes in,
Oh.
and we don't even know who we are yet.
Okay.
Hi, I'm your host Zuleika, otherwise known around the hood, Zonda.
That's right.
This is my guest Emaline Centeio,
That's right.
and we are two Cape Verdean women who are going to be talking about all things that we know, which is food, culture, language, fun,
That's
and then all the other stuff that comes in between. So we're very much looking forward to this discussion. We've had plenty of these, never recorded, thank God. Never out in the public, not in this way, but we are really excited about this.
I'm a little nervous.
I'm always nervous. My armpits are always tingling.
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling.
The funny thing is we do this all the time, but now there's a mic in front
Well,
of
when
me. and
there's
I'm
something
like,
like in your face, it's always a little bit awkward to like.
we're just gonna leave that one. Leave that
Please
one
be
alone.
forewarned. This might get a little. It's not safe for work and definitely not safe to play around your kids. I will warn you right now. And if you are pearl clutching type, you're definitely not listening to this podcast anyway.
You
so.
should though. You should.
Oh, yeah, I
Loosen
agree.
up a little bit.
I
You know,
agree.
have a little fun.
Those are usually the very loosened up ones
No.
from
From my experience.
my limited experience.
That's right.
Okay, so back to the introduction.
That's right.
So, Emaline and I have known each other for several years, about 12. We met when I first moved to Atlanta. Actually, the first time when I visited Atlanta.
Yes, that's when we met.
Yeah, 2007,
And as a Cape
late
Verdean,
2007.
you left your child with another Cape Verdean and partied. It's what we do.
Well, I mean, it
you
was
knew
part
nothing
of-
about us except that, your cousin was married to,
My best friend.
right.
And she's like, oh, you could just leave him with my brother
Right.
and his wife. They don't do anything.
yes, we were.
I'm like, okay.
We were super lame.
Look out.
Okay,
We're
we
like in
had
our
2
30s.
babies.
We're in our 30s.
You guys were
Wait,
partying.
was the little one born yet?
Yeah, he was. Zaire
He
was a
was.
baby.
Oh, wow.
He was
that was
born.
such a long time ago. He's 14 now, y'all, by the way. So we are
Right.
old, crackety crack.
Stop. Now we're young. He's 14. I have a
That's-
17-year-old and a 14-year-old. Are you kidding me? It's time to party.
You
They
are so
can-
right. Because
okay.
I remember you back in the day when I'm like, oh my God, have a glass of wine. And you'd have like
No,
one
I have
sip.
to wake
and-
up early.
Yeah.
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 Have
Yeah.
to breastfeed and cook and
And now, wow, how times have changed.
Yes. Stella got her groove
Emaline
back.
getting turned up. What was your message last night? She's like, I'm too drunk to read this.
I was.
I sent her a text. She's like, I'm sorry,
I didn't
too
have
drunk
work.
to read this.
Wait, let's tell the audience that I didn't have work today, so they don't think that I got drunk, went to bed, and then woke up early and went to work.
Like 90% of the rest of the world.
Right.
Like, there's no shame in that, by the way.
Right.
But yeah, she did not have work today because lucky her.
That's right.
So anyway, we're still trying to do this introduction. So we met each other about 12 years ago or so, and then found out that, you ready for this? Dun, dun, dun. My best friend, who I have known for over 20 years now, is married to my first cousin who I grew up with. I never knew she had a brother when I met her because he was already entangled with this one. So they spent all their time squirreled away in the attic making out as teenagers.
We were.
So when my friend tells me, oh, we could just leave your son with my brother and his wife. And I'm like, wait a second, you have a brother? She's like, yeah, how did you not know this? I'm like, who else does not know you have a brother? So that's how I meet her. The first time I find out that my best friend who's been dating my cousin, well, at that point they had been married, but they had been together for like 10 years at that time. This was like 2007, 2008. They got married in 2006, but they were together forever. I think he took her to prom. I remember coming home and like, who's this chick with her over curled hair? That was the first time I met her. And then later on, like a couple of years later, we actually met outside of her dating my cousin, and she was an adult at this time. We took a trip, and that's when we learned like, oh my God, we're friends for life. And so yeah, that's how I meet this one, not knowing that we have this like huge connection, because I never realized that my friend had a brother for the reasons I just explained. And then they had moved, you guys moved to Georgia in 05?
In 06.
06. So we ended up meeting before that day, actually. That wasn't the first time we met. That's not true. No, oh my gosh. How could we both forget?
We met at Sandra's wedding.
Yes. I saved your daughter from dying. Remember that story?
Well,
I can't
she
believe we
saved
both
me
forgot.
from dying, I'll tell you that much. I don't know if you saved my daughter from that, but you definitely saved me and the whole situation.
Oh my gosh, this was
another
insane.
thing that we Cape Verdeans do. We overly feel everything.
We over dramatize everything.
Yes, we do.
Is drama.
Yes, we do.
And so, okay, so now that we brought that up and we're both remembering like, oh my God, because when trauma happens, you kind of forget things. And we never really got a chance to get to know each other. So my cousin and my best friend are getting married. At the time, she and I were not best friends yet, because we hadn't bonded in that way. Like, we were friends, we were friendly. I knew her, I really, really liked her. I don't know how the hell my cousin landed this chick, but he's a great shout out to George. He's a great guy. Whatever. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You have to say that. That's your cousin. It's like a brother thing. You gotta
only
say
if
that.
he's listening to this podcast. He is. George was like my brother growing up.
Exactly.
We literally grew up like this.
Exactly.
There's a photo, the only photo of me growing up at 4 years old, because all my pictures were burned, lost in a fire somewhere, of me young, before I was 7. I have this one picture. I don't have it. Somebody in my family has this photo. There's one photo of me before being 7 years old that exists. Only half of me is in that picture, because the photo was supposed to be of me and George. George was upset that he had to share being in the photo with somebody. So he pushed me out at the exact time that they're snapping. So
you get like half your face and half your body.
Half my body's in the picture. The rest is of George, his bloated belly. I love it. And his angry face. So it's the best family picture you've never seen, but that's it. That's yeah. So that's who he was growing up. He's awesome. I talked a lot of shit about him, but I love him. So if you are listening, George, I love you like the brother you never were. And maybe one day you'll be on the podcast and we can relive the time that I literally did try to kill him, and then he can tell why.
Like every sibling, ever.
Right? Yeah, it really was like sibling relationships.
Maybe it's a Cape Verdean thing.
It's a Cape Verde.
that
Yeah.
we try to kill each other? Like,
I don't.
Yeah, is
No,
it?
don't.
No, it's not.
Okay, we're still trying to introduce our
I know.
culture.
I'm like,
don't
oh my
don't
God.
make this like.
That's what I'm saying.
What are
Maybe
those like
we are the
murder
only
shows?
ones. I know. Maybe we're the only ones that do that. That's why I'm like, no, don't.
Well, you did say we are over dramatic.
We
and all of
very,
that. So yeah,
very.
that's a great segue into how all this happens. Lots of love, though. I promise you, nobody ever got hurt.
We do too much of everything. We are too much.
Of everything.
We do too much cooking, too much drinking, too much
cleaning.
loving. So everything is dramatic because that's just the culture.
Well,
like
we have a dramatic culture.
we do.
So
Because we do
let's
too
talk a little bit
much.
about that. Let's pretend that anybody listening doesn't know what Cape Verdean is, because
Okay.
we haven't even gotten to that part. We're still trying to get past the name.
Oh my gosh.
I'm Zuleika. I'm the host of the show. This is Renegade Femme for the Revolution, where we have raw conversations,
That's right.
apparently about everything. Today's
nothing.
conversation is about culture,
Yeah.
and I really wanted to have my girl on because we're both Cape Verdean women. If you don't know what Cape Verdean is, the name of our country is Cabo Verde.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you that have a hard time with that, just think Cabo San Lucas. You can say that easily. So think Cabo and Verde, which is the word for green, and put those two together. So we used to call it Cape Verde, and there was a huge movement a few years ago to have Google change that. Remember when that
to
happened?
Cabo Verde, absolutely.
And Google actually changed the name of our country to what it actually is. It used to be called Cape Verde on the map. And
now you can see it, and it's
now
Cabo
you can
Verde.
see Cabo Verde. So one of the fun things that we love to do with each other, because we're both from the same country, but our country is made up of 10 islands. We're an archipelago country off the west coast of Africa. We're a little bit south of the equator, I think.
Yes.
Is it south or north? Somewhere around there.
We start all of the hurricanes.
Yeah, we're on the same like
what's-
longitude as the Caribbean islands.
That's right.
And we're south of the Canaries. So here's a little geography lessons. And yes, the hurricanes that hit Florida, the east coast of the United States, and some
We
parts of
get
the
those
Caribbean,
started.
they start where we're from. And there's actually a theory as to why that happens, because a lot of the slave trade that happened from West Africa went through our country.
Yep.
And so they say that the spirits of the ancestors is what creates
Oh, we're
the
not going to
hurricanes.
listen to science and talk about the water and how
No.
that's not it. Okay, that's
You
we are
know
not.
who you're talking to.
That's right. We are
So,
not.
yes, we're
we're
gonna go with
not
that.
Getting the scientific
There's
explanation
that.
of why.
There's that, but there's all
But yes,
there's the
the
cultural
spirits.
thing.
Oh,
Do you
absolutely.
know? Have you ever been to that spot? There's actually a beach.
Praia?
I was gonna say Sal. I know there's one in.
Praia.
It's probably every island
Right.
there. You could, if you stand still on the shore of the ocean, it sounds like wailing. It sounds like people crying. Like
Oh,
the
wow.
sound that reverbs back from the water sounds like people mourning.
That's crazy. I never
There's
knew
a
that.
there's a video of it. I'll find it for you. I'll link it to this episode so you can hear it.
I can tell you it's not happening in my island. We make way too much noise to hear anyone wailing.
Okay, so speaking of her island, so Cape Verde, Cabo Verde is an archipelago of 10 islands. Is
Yes.
it 9 or 8 that are
It's-
inhabited? Because
it's
there's one
9.
island that's
It's 9 that are inhabited, and then one Santa Lucia.
Yeah.
And people usually go there to fish and
yeah,
they hang out. They
that's
do
well,
like
it's now
camps.
a conservation site
Right,
because we have Cape Verde is a really spectacular place, by the way. Like if you love traveling and you want to go someplace
That's right.
amazing and you want to have a great time and you want to experience life,
That's right.
you got to go there. What's our motto? No
No
stress.
That's it.
Which
That's
is hilarious because we are such a stressed out culture. But it's like how when you walked in and you were describing me.
That's
like,
right.
what did you say?
I said, you always look flawless. And then you'll tell me, oh my gosh, I had a day. And I'm always like, did you? Because you don't look like you did. So we may be going through crap, but
Yeah.
we just never look like we are. So we write it all over our country, like all over the walls. Yeah, graffiti is
No
something there.
stress.
So we write no stress all over
Yeah.
just to remind ourselves that, you know,
There's
should
more
be
to life.
Right.
There's
there
more
should
to
be
life.
more to life
Yeah.
than just being stressed out and just feeling that. So we just rather party than stress.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Enjoy life. It's not so
That's
much
right.
party. It's like the enjoyment
That's
of life.
right.
It's family.
That's
you know,
right.
we're not hitting the clubs and stuff. It's literally like when we talk about partying.
Oh, that's just a Saturday night at a
right.
friend's house.
Our definition of party is like
Yeah.
when friends and family get together.
Right.
And it does turn into a party. It's always an
Always,
event.
always.
But speaking of the no stress, the first thing I thought about is on one of the trips you came back and you bring T-shirts and you gave one to a little small one. I remember it was white and it's got the no stress.
That's right.
And I sent Kai to preschool with it on without realizing that the graphic on the shirt was a bikini lady on a hammock
beach.
with
Yeah.
a drink in her hand.
Right.
And I put my kid in that shirt and sent him to school.
Yeah.
When he came home, that's when I realized, I was like, oh. Yeah, I wonder
That's
how
okay.
the
Guess what?
Christian teachers at this school thought.
They're
Mommy was
thinking,
doing.
I need a vacation.
I hope so.
That's what they're thinking. I want to go to that island, buddy.
Yeah, where is this place?
Cabo
Is this what
Verde.
your mom looks like?
That's yes, Cabo. In our minds, absolutely,
Right.
Cabo
Yeah,
Verde.
that's our goal. That's actually That's life goals right there.
That's right.
To live that life.
Be in a hammock.
So that's a little bit. We'll get more into the culture because there's more serious stuff. But we did touch on the whole, slavery thing and our history of that.
That's right.
And, we are an African nation.
That's right.
We're on the West Coast. And, we have our own history of that. I remember a few years back when I visited and my dad was kind of walking me around. Shout out to Julio Handel. For those of you, like, it's probably the first time producers heard me say my name that way. Rendell, by the way, is our last name.
No,
my dad's
when
name
you
is
say
Julio.
a Creole, you gotta.
Julio
Yeah.
Handel.
This is why
You
my
gotta-
son refuses to speak. He's like, "Mommy, I can't." I'm like, "You can
Yeah.
do it."
It's a lot of R rolling
Right.
and the back of the throat thing.
That's right.
Like if we could speak Arabic, we'd be perfect. Like,
We
Yeah.
could.
yeah,
We could.
I tried once.
This is why we sound the way we do.
Yeah.
I absolutely
Well,
think we
we
could.
have a lot of global influences. We definitely have a culture that is so mixed of so many different ethnic cultures and traditions that we think we're very unique in our ways, but then when you start learning about the rest of the world, you're like, oh. Snap, that, like, I didn't realize that belonged to somebody else first.
Right.
We have a lot of Jewish traditions
Yes,
in
we
Cape
do.
Verdean culture. We do that 7-day thing? I know-
Adventist.
No. Oh gosh, I'm butchering this. There's
Oh, when your baby's born, and then you celebrate their 7-day.
Yeah.
Like, thank God they did not die.
no. We
Yes,
think that's what that is. It's
That's
not
what we were-
that.
it's not
no,
that?
that's what we were taught growing up. Like,
Okay.
because kids used to die all the time.
Right.
Like, we're from a very impoverished country. At least, definitely back when you and I were born in the 80s.
If you're gonna lie, do
Back
it
in
right.
the 80s.
Back in
Look,
the 87.
I mean, this stuff was
let's just
happening in
trim
the
10 years.
80s.
Let's
We
just-
were born
right.
before, but in the 80s,
You can
there
say
was
it. When were we born, Zonda? Say the year. It's okay.
1977. I
That's
love
right.
when I
That's
go
right.
to
Say it,
Publix
own it.
and
That's
they're
right.
like, they don't even check ID, by the way. So, I hope I don't
They
get nobody in
shouldn't have
Publix.
to.
No, when they ask you, so when's your birthday? And I'm like, I really need to just start like, I could literally say 97 and I'd still be old enough to buy wine.
That's
Why
right.
do I
That's
still
right.
keep saying?
70.
Because
you know
what
the truth.
then people are like,
Oh.
wow, like, is that even still a number?
Stop. Now I got to squirrel all the way down. You know,
Yeah, they're like, there's a one.
you got to squirrel all the way
Oh.
down to find your birthday year.
No,
you know, like
remember
you're just
that
like
day?
you're going through the 2000, the
Yes.
90s. Oh crap, I'm still
It takes
going.
so long.
It
I
does.
lie
It
so
does.
often in those things
Like,
because I'm like, does it really matter? Like, I'm just trying to get through the website. Like, if I was born in 2000, I'd still be old enough right
To
now
buy whatever it is that I need to buy.
sign up for whatever.
Right.
But no, remember that night I sent you guys that Marco Polo when I realized that joke that I was born in the 1900s
my
and I
gosh.
could not stop laughing.
She laughed at a Marco Polo.
I think it was like 30 minutes.
It
of
was
giggling.
30 something minutes of her laughing, and then I went back to the video, and I'm like, okay, it's not even that funny.
It was.
Because-
And I did say that though. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think this is that funny. But oh my God, realizing that
How
I am one of
old,
those people. I literally can say I was born in the 1900s.
1900s.
So the
That's
joke
all
was,
it
if you
was.
hadn't heard it, it's like a skit thing. And the guy comes out and he's like, I don't even remember anymore. He's like, something like, I don't feel good or whatever. Oh, I forgot. It was something like, oh, I forgot that thing. And he's like, of course you did.
right.
You were born in the 1900s.
So that was the skit.
When it hit me,
And it hit her.
It hit me hard. I laughed.
My other
so
friend's going to
hard.
attest to this.
And they're like, have you been drinking? I'm like, no, I swear I'm totally sober. I don't know why this affected me so harsh.
It was so funny.
It was hilarious. To me.
You were funnier than the skit. Let me just say.
I think my laughing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
You were
finding
making
the
me
skit
laugh.
funny.
And then when I watched the skit, I'm like, I wish I hadn't. Because you made me laugh more than the actual skit did. Because you're telling that there's tears coming out of your eyes.
Oh, my God. I could not.
But this is just a Zanda on a Saturday night Marco Polo. So, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Zuleika.
No,
Zoo.
you can. That's fine.
Zoo. Like your professionals. Zoo. Hey, Zoo. I always have to
You gotta
switch.
remember, like, oh, who am I talking? Who am I meeting right now? Are these like people that know you, or people you're around?
Oh, I do this all the. I'm used to this because
Because you have one name. The rest of us don't. Oh,
no,
with Alex.
Gustavo, my husband's real
His
name
professional name
is Gustavo Alexander. So we were having drinks with these clients the other day, and they're going on and on about Gustavo, and I just drop an Alex in the middle, and the lady, the guy's wife is like, "Wait, who's Alex?" I was like, "Oh, I know you're right. He checks out to Gustavo, but his name is Alex because he's Gustavo Alexander, and so that's just something in our culture."
This has been another episode of Renegade Femme for the Revolution. To continue the conversation, join us on Facebook and Instagram at Renegade Femme for the Revolution. You can connect with me, your host, at Zuleika Rendell on Instagram. Be sure to click follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever platform you're listening on to be the first to know when the next episode is released. Renegade Femme for the Revolution is recorded in studio at the Content Creation Center. This episode is produced and edited by Schiller Productions.